Hey, look, it's $100. Oh, ooh, I'm loaded. I've got $100 just sitting on my desk. And you know why? It's because I tell stories. So I can it's just, things are just so awesome that having a stack of $1 bills that equals 100 just sitting on my desk for everyone to see. It's just normal for me. We've got them stacked around the house in lots of different places, right? So, very cool. What's up, everybody? Let me get this up on my phone. Sorry, I used to do these little freeze frame things when I would do these lives for the first 10 seconds. I would just be frozen. I'd have a prop or something like that because Facebook automatically chooses a thumbnail for your lives, and so I did that so that I had options to choose from, or the one that was most visually stimulating or exciting, or like a scroll stopper if somebody saw it. So I figured, why not wave some cash around, right? Whoa. The little thing almost came up. So, what is up, everybody? It's Wednesday. Hope you had an awesome day. Colleen, Val, Jackson, thanks for hopping on. You guys rock and roll. Hope you guys have been getting things done. Today has been a full day. I've been studying. Some of you know about the Knowledge Business Blueprint that Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, and Russell Brunson launched. Today was the first day diving in. Thank you, Krista and Ed. I love you guys for it. And I am learning. I'm going to be doing, here's a little announcement. I'm going to be doing a 3-day mastermind retreat later this summer. I'm going to look at the calendar to make sure. It's probably going to be somewhere in August, September area, where I will have 20 people, 25 tops, come to this amazing place here. We'll bring it here to Salt Lake. We'll go up in the mountains, and for 3 days we will be in an awesome cabin, having our food provided for us, your lodging taken care of, and we will be working through your stories in depth in a workshop mastermind setting where you'll get up and you'll talk about and share your things. You'll get feedback from the group. You'll get direction from me, and you work through it on the first 2 days. And then day 3 is going to be all about getting your story on film, recorded, and ready for you to use in your business. Not only will you be having mastermind and working on your stories and getting stuff filmed and having your food taken care of and having a place to sleep, and we'll find some fun activity to do one of the nights, like if we go up near Park City or Sundance, right? And then I'll have a crew there getting B-roll of the whole weekend and all of that stuff, so that you have a whole bunch of assets, a whole bunch of new friends, a whole bunch of guidance, and you're working towards getting your $1 Million Story Award, that I am putting together. So put that on your calendars. It's not going to be cheap. To be totally transparent, it will be over $5,000. I haven't locked down the price yet, but if you were to partner with me just to make one video, you're going to be spending more than $5,000 anyway. I've done one video for $12,000, another one for $10,000. That's just normal, okay? So put that in your hat. And what's up, Janine and Lance? You guys, good to have you on. So here is the thing. We are talking, I'm going to continue on. We talked about origin stories yesterday. If you did not see it, go and watch it right after this, or put it on your calendar, schedule some time tomorrow and go and watch it. So it was just really, Val and everyone that was on yesterday knows how great it was. If you missed it, go and watch it, and, because it's just good stuff. Okay, so today we're going to continue talking about origin stories. So let's get started. What is up? I just saw Lance's comment saying he couldn't hear me. I hope you can hear me now. I just tested on my phone and the audio sounds fine. So hopefully Hopefully you guys can hear me. Can you hear me? Do we have to do the mic check? If you can hear me, let me know in the comments. If you can't, why haven't you said anything? So today I want to talk about origin stories. Yesterday we talked about the structure and kind of how to build them, where to start, how far back to go, what kinds of things to talk about. Hopefully you guys got some goodness out of that. Today, I want to talk about Lance, actually, is the reason why we're going down this path, is that say you've worked on your origin story. Val, I watched what you sent me, and it's great, and I want to commend you for taking action and getting stuff done. I will share, I'll send you like a private some feedback on some stuff, but it's so cool. So like, let's say you've been working on your origin story. And again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go and watch yesterday's live all about origin stories. Like, go and do it. Okay. I'm going to do my little rant about like a couple people have been like, I wish your videos weren't so long, but like you guys are getting like legit masterclass, thousands of dollars worth of value for just my time doing it, but the content that you're getting. So like, it is worth it for you to invest the time to study it and break it down. Okay. If it's not important to you, then I invite you to go on and watch your cat videos and not grow in your business. Okay. So if you want to really take your business to the next level, you need to continue watching. And to those of you who do, love it. Love it. Okay. I love that you guys are here. Thank you, Mike. Colleen, for letting me know you can hear me. So you've crafted your origin story. Now it's time to put it out there. How do I get my origin story out there? How do I tell it? How do I put it out to my audience? Lance asked me this question. I think he's asked it to me in other ways on other lives in our conversations in the chats that we have. But I figured today was like the perfect time to kind of, go about it. So first of all, there are lots of different ways that you can get your message out there, whether that's your origin story or something else. There are tons of different platforms and channels, if you will, that you can publish your story. But before I get into those and the benefits that I see in each one, I just want to talk for a minute about our mindset. Okay, so many people go out and they're told to publish, get your message out there, right? And there is merit in going out in the act of doing to get better and to get in the habit and to break through our challenges. However, there are some people who are deathly afraid and do not do it. They don't work on their stories. They don't do any of this stuff because they're afraid of it sucking, basically, right? Or they're afraid of looking dumb, or afraid of somebody picking it to pieces, and all of that stuff. Okay. Now I want to tell you, and this is easy for me to say because I'm the storytelling master, right? I have been there. I know how it feels. I'm going to share my Star Wars video with you guys if you haven't seen it, and if you have, you can again. Knowing this piece of the backstory as to how it came about, hopefully will be impactful for you and show you that when you get past your fears, good stuff happens, okay? So, sorry, I just saw Lance's, he got noise. Anyway, I don't know what that means, but, so with your mindset, Nick, it's easy for you to publish. It's easy for you to tell your stories because that's what you do all day, every day. Yes, it is, because I've done it all day, every day. But it wasn't always that easy. Just a little over a year ago, it was like February, I did my first ever Facebook Live. I'd never done one before then. And I talked for 2 minutes and 30 seconds about the SpaceX launch of the Falcon Heavy rocket that sent a Tesla and a spaceman off to Mars, right? And so I watched that when that anniversary came up and it was in my feed. I went and I watched it. And it's amazing how awkward I was. Like, to some people, you'd look and it was fine. But like me, I've seen how I've grown. Like, if you watch the first one versus one right now, it's a completely different Nick, right? But when I finally started to be intentional with telling my story from my business. Now remember, that is what this series and what I've been talking about over the last 3 weeks is all about. Using your stories and your experiences to sell more stuff in your business. Okay? To wrap your products and your services and yourself in your stories, people will buy more. Okay? So when I became intentional, I said, okay, I have to tell a story for my business. I want to create this thing that like shows that I know what I'm doing. So when somebody says, can I see an example of your work? I can send it to them. But it's not going to be like what everyone else sends to them, just a bunch of clips with B-roll and nothing to it. I wanted a narrative to be involved with it because I'm telling stories. I was transitioning from working as a technician on film sets to working on crafting stories for businesses. So I remember the idea when the idea happened, and I was just like, ooh, this is the story I want to tell. And it was late at night. I was listening to songs for another video project, and I came across the one that's in the video that I will show here in a few minutes, that just like lightning struck my brain. And Liesl was trying to sleep on the bed. I was like kind of half hanging off the bed sideways with my notebook and my cell phone light on, and I'm just scribbling down stuff. And it was just like, oh, download stuff. And I was so pumped, and I even shared it with her and shared the vision, and it was just like, this is going to be good. Guess what happened? I let it sit in my notebook for a couple of months. I didn't touch it. And I came to the realization a couple months later that snapped me out of it. The reason why I didn't share the story in any way, shape, or form. I didn't talk about the story in a Facebook Live. I didn't talk about it in Instagram. I talked about the inspiration about it and how something cool was going to come from it. So I was teasing it, but I wasn't telling that actual story. And so I get out there. I'm at an event in Salt Lake City with Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, Gary Vaynerchuk, Kevin O'Leary, these guys. And Tony Robbins was the keynote, so he's the last one. And I went through this exercise, and I realized that I was afraid. I was afraid to put my story out there because if it sucked, then people weren't going to like me. People weren't going to hire me. We were going to continue living in a basement. I was going to have to go back to working 12, 14, 16 hours a day in film. Which I loved the creative process. I loved the people that I worked, but I was so tired and I wasn't making any money. I wanted to get out of the freaking basement. Pardon my language. I wanted to get out of the basement of a family member and be in control of my destiny. And I felt that this was the story that would take it to the next level and allow that to happen. But I was afraid if I didn't execute, or the people thought it sucked, or if somebody tore it apart, or it was trolled, or it didn't execute the way that I envision it, because sometimes we have it so clear in our minds, but when it comes time to translate it to paper, or to a post, or however we're putting it out there, there's so many unknowns, and it's scary, right? So I feel you if you are afraid, if you are worried, or that kind of stuff. You can get past it. And so I want you to do this exercise before you ever decide to publish it. If you're having the anxiety of like, if you are just like, I'm going and I'm going to do it, and you get it out there, that's awesome. You don't need to, you can ignore what I'm about to say. But you can apply it to other things that go in all aspects of life. But I asked myself, whether my story is a success or my story is a failure, what will not change regardless for me? In my life, what will not change whether my story is perfect and great or if it's terrible? And the thing that boiled down for me was that Liesl and my kids were going to still love me and support me. Whether it was a success or a total failure, they were going to support me and love me regardless. And for me, that broke down the wall, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. Okay, so we have to get out of our own head and stop talking ourselves out of doing it, okay? I know I'm spending a little bit longer, but I feel that there's somebody right now who is struggling with that, who is just like, I'm scared, that kind of stuff. Like, you can get past it. Ask yourself, what will not change for you regardless of whether your story comes out the way you wanted it to and it's amazing, or if it struggled and fell flat and you have to do it over again. Okay. What is that thing for you? For me, it was knowing that my family is going to love me regardless. Okay. So that is, I just wanted to mention that really quick. Okay. So let's say you've got your story, you've got a version of your story, you've got a draft, and you're comfortable and you're ready. You've got the mindset. You're like, okay, I'm going to publish this and get this to my audience. Lance was wondering, where do I go to tell it? And honestly, this is going to seem like a kind of a lame answer, possibly, but you go where your audience is to tell it. So, like Lance, you're attracting customers through a lot of word of mouth and referrals, right? That's the main way you're getting traffic to your business. So, when somebody refers you, are they calling on the phone? And that's their first interaction with somebody at your business? Are they going to the website to get your phone number? Like that kind of stuff. Like, if it's doing it as a video is my favorite way to communicate, right? You get eye contact virtually, like I'm looking right down the lens of my camera. So if you're looking at your screen, it's like I'm looking you right in the eyes, right? And when I sit down, I imagine you guys. I imagine Janine and Lance and Colleen and Michael and Val sitting there in their living rooms or in their offices or sitting on the porch or while the kids are playing or whatever. Or listening while they're making dinner in the kitchen or things like that, right? And that helps me focus here to be able to connect with you, right? That's why, like, I'm not meaning to toot my own horn, but there's a reason why I get good engagement and why my videos, even when they're long, there's high replayability. People go and watch the replays a lot if they miss the live, and they watch the whole time. I've looked at the retention, and it's pretty darn good, right? So there's a reason for that, and it's because I'm comfortable and I'm looking at you in the eye, right? So that's why I feel video is the way to tell your origin story. Whether that's a Facebook Live like this, whether it's you sitting down and setting your phone or a camera up on a little tripod and talking to it, or having me or like a videographer, it should be me. Come to you and set up the lights and all that stuff and do an interview style, asking you questions to get it to come out. Video is the way to do it the most effectively in the least amount of time. My Friendly Giant Films video is like 3.5 minutes long. It's less than 4 minutes long. And I could trim it down some, to be honest. I could make it even shorter. But it gets results. And it's because they hear the story, they connect with me, they hear what I do and all of that stuff. And so that is why it works. Now, you know your voice, you know where you're comfortable, and you might not be comfortable on video. I know some people have the thought of doing a Facebook Live that they would rather be dead than doing a Facebook Live, right? Give me some hearts or thumbs up if you would be rather never have to do a Facebook Live. If that just frightens you to death, I'm going to grab a drink while you do that. Come on, let's do this. Somebody's knocking on my door, and I'm going to ignore it. So a video for me is the best way to be able to do it because it's you telling a story to the audience. Now, you can tell your origin story or any of your stories. We're talking about origin story specifically, but you can tell your origin story as a guest on a podcast. You can come on and tell people about who you are and what you do. And then they become, introduced to you and come into your world through somebody else. They might have a bigger audience and stuff. They set you in front. You talk about who you are. You provide value. And you share your story through a podcast. And that's one way to do it. You could type it all out. Like a Facebook post. Just like a regular post. Just the one that you type out. If it's on your page or if it's just on your personal profile, so that all of your friends and family and things like that and your neighbors and everything else can know what you're doing, type it out. That way you can like really kind of feel comfortable with it as you put it out there. You can edit it. You can you put it out there, and if you have a typo, you can change it if you want, or things like that. But the best way to tell and put your origin story out there is by simply knowing where your audience is. I do a lot on Facebook because that's where the majority of my people congregate and hang out. I do some on Instagram. I do stories on Instagram. That's mostly to show kind of what I do every day, as opposed to the deep teaching stuff. I take these and I put them on YouTube, and I'm going to start doing SEO-ish stuff with those to try and get traction over there, because these are like how-to type of videos, right? And so I know it's kind of lame, but like, you need to know and understand your audience. If you're a plumber in Wyoming, where do those people hang out? Where do they get introduced to you? Where are you starting to direct them? Because Lance was telling me the other day that he's been applying the things that I've been talking about, right? He's been doing lives and he's been doing stuff. And guess what? He's been getting more clients. Like, he already had, things are busy, but they're getting more busy. His wife is answering the phone and trying to juggle everything, right? So now it's going to become a point where that's going to be so overwhelming for her that now he needs to send them to a sales funnel. Like, he's learning what funnels are. You send them to your website, or you send them to somewhere, right? If people are referring, you send them to somewhere where they can get to know you. There you have your video sitting right there of you telling your origin story. And it's not like, when I was a boy, I did this. Like, if you, again, refer back to yesterday if you need it, and find that storyline and build it out and share it. And it doesn't have to be super long. Do not have a 17-minute video on your landing page of your website. Just don't. Okay? People will only watch a few seconds of it, or they'll skip it altogether when they see that it's that long. Like, ugh, never mind. Don't have it be some travel log. If your origin story is that big, you're telling way too much for an introduction, right? If all you're wanting them to do is book a call, you don't tell a 17-minute story, right? On your website. You could tell a 17-minute story on your Facebook and put it on your page and share it, and people can see that and then go and book. Yes. See, there are different ways and platforms to tell your story, especially your origin story, and you need to go to where your audience is, and then you go to where everywhere else. You need to be telling it all over the place, okay? Sorry, this is I hope that's making sense. Are you understanding that? Give me a comment, give me some hearts and thumbs up here, to just let me know if I've lost any of you or if it makes sense. And this is where, I can show you how to use your stories and everything, but at the same time, you guys have to do some work and research as to where your audience is consuming content, right? So that's the truth behind it. Lance says, yes, that's awesome. Thank you. So I want to show you again, this is the first video that I told. And, you could say, well, I think that's not really necessarily an origin story. And I would agree with you. This is the first thing that gets people into my world. I have lots of conversations one-on-one, online, on video, Zoom calls and stuff like that. Face-to-face is another powerful, obvious way to tell your origin story. So if you use something like what I'm about to show you to hook people and get people to book a call or to come into your world, and then if you're like Lance, if you're taking individual calls or things like that, and you're telling the story about why you got in business, why you're interested in it, and all that kind of stuff. The origin story doesn't have to be the hook that you put out there to get everyone to come. Sometimes you put the hook out and then you share their origin story once they come in, okay? So I'm gonna show you this video. This is my Friendly Giant Films video. Now, this lives on the main page of my funnel, which is going to be redone. And the whole purpose of that page in its current state is to get people to book a 15-minute call with me, right? I don't talk about it at all in the video. It's just talked about in the copywriting on the funnel. The purpose of this video was to help build a personal connection with the people who saw it, help them feel connected to me, establish my authority and my expertise, that I know what I'm doing, and to show them that I can do stuff that would be beneficial for their business, okay? So let's watch this really quick and just know that it doesn't have to be long. This is less than 3 minutes. The actual story and the talking part is way less than that. I just had visuals that I wanted to support the message. So let's go ahead and watch this together, and then we'll wrap it up when we come back. One of my fondest memories is going to the movies with my grandma.
Enjoy the show.
She took me to see Return of the Jedi, and I was so excited to see my heroes again. I remember the smell of popcorn, the way that my shoes stuck to the floor. I remember the lights dimming, the music swelling. I remember Jabba the Hutt, Ewoks, Yoda, Boba Fett, the Emperor, Darth Vader dying, Princess Leia in a bikini, the rebels defeating the Empire once and for all, good beating evil. It was raw and it was real, and I'll always remember the way that it made me feel. I'm Nick Fitzgerald, founder of Friendly Giant Films. Over the last 3 years, I've worked on 13 feature films, a television series, numerous commercials, and TV news, all while learning from master storytellers. My passion is to help others find and tell their own stories. Audiences remember a powerful story, sights, smells, emotions, and who they shared it with. We want your audience to remember those things when they hear your story. So come join with us as we work together to change your world, one story at a time. Okay, do you see the journey that took you, the audience, on? That is like the tip of the iceberg of what you can do with videos in your business. But it's not just videos. If you just do a video for the sake of doing a video, it's going to suck. It's going to be about the wrong things. It's taking a story and crafting it in a way that guides your audience on a journey. And when you do that, that is when the magic happens, okay? Now, I know I've shared that before in these videos, in my lives and stuff, but I do it again just to reinforce how many of you, from watching that, even if you'd seen it again, how many of you have just felt a connection with me? How many of you could see that I wasn't new? I knew what I was talking about. I had expertise. And how many of you were like, I want that for my business, right? Everybody that I have talked to that's a business owner that comes and sees that wants that video for their business. You want to know why? Because it guides and it stirred emotions in them. And they want that to happen for the people who hear their story. You want that to happen when people hear your story. Because when that happens, they will buy from you. I have made lots of money because I've told that story. Okay? And again, I hate to be like, I made lots of money. Like, but that's why we're entrepreneurs, is to make money, right? That's why we have a business, is to make money. We found our skills and our talents and the things that we're awesome at, and we found a way to put them into something that helps and serves people, and we charge them money for it. There's nothing wrong with wanting to make lots of money. Okay? Absolutely nothing. And if you have that struggle, then that's something that you need to work on if you don't believe it. Because I believe it, I accept it, and I receive it. And it's amazing. So anyway, just to kind of sum up again, you need to be able to overcome your fear that's holding you back from sharing your story. Whether that's working on it alone or you partner with somebody, if you all know that it should be me at this point, right? That we work together on crafting your story and honing it and making it just like kablamo awesome, right? And then you have me come out and film it, and I bring my crew and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to be going in the next, sometime next week, most likely, to somewhere in California, like maybe Palm Springs, LA, or even Las Vegas for a couple of days to do some filming with some entrepreneurs. And it's just a lot of fun and that kind of stuff. But telling your origin story is the way that you're going to get people to fall in love with you and what you're all about, to understand who you are, to understand what you do for them, and then to accept the invitation for them to partner with you, to get on that call, to book this thing or that, or to sign up for your program. Okay? And you do it by telling the story where your audience lives or where they come into your world. If you make them go through 14 hoops before they start to learn about you, they're going to quit jumping through hoops. If you get them to take the step in the door and you're there, hello friend, let me tell you who I am and I'm so excited to meet you. Here's who I am. Here's what I do. This is how I can help. But that's not just saying, I help people with their business, to make stories for their business. And I do this. Like, no, you tell the story as to why that's important to you, the struggles that you went through, the contention and the conflict that you experienced that led you on the path that you're on, because they're on that same path. I've talked to so many entrepreneurs about their stories. They're on the path that I was, knowing that I needed to tell my story for my business, but not knowing how, or being afraid to do it, right? I talk to people like that all day, every day. Or they think they have an idea, but they don't know how to execute it. Or they think that it's not very good and blah, blah, blah. They make up all these excuses to not tell it because they're uncertain. The people who come into your life are making up excuses to not lose weight, to not do this. Like Lance is in a great thing. When people come to him, they really need his help. And so he has the opportunity to sell a little bit easier. He just needs more people. He just wants to serve and help more people, or to be able to make more, not in a selfish way, more per customer, because they come back over and over. Or he can charge more for his services because he stands out from everybody else because of these things that he does that eases their pain. That not only unclogs something or fixes a leak or installs a tankless water heater or something like that, but all those extra things that add value and set him apart from everybody else. Because any plumber that has gone through stuff can unclog a thing or fix a leak or install a tankless water heater, but he has things that set him apart. And those are the things that you share in your origin story. Okay, so this is that's what I wanted to cover today. Okay, that is the gist of. If you're telling your origin story, you've worked on it. And again, if you came in late and you haven't seen it, go watch yesterday's Facebook Live about origin stories. I go through the whole way, how to structure it, where to begin, all that kind of stuff, okay? So Lance says service with care. That's one of the things that sets him apart, right? And he can expand more on that in his story, because everyone's going to say, we give great service, right? But he does exceptional things, and the things that other people don't. That's why Aspen Mountain Plumbing is the person to go to, is the company to go to in Wyoming and Eastern Utah, right? So that is how to get your origin story out there. I've got the sun's really coming out all of a sudden, and now my blinds are open because I was using the light for it. But anyway, does that make sense? I will expound more on that if we need to in another live, or if you have personal questions and you need help working through the mental blocks, I'm happy to do that for you. Okay. If you have your story, I feel like I need to say this. If you have, there's somebody right now that has their story. They're at a high level in their business, and they have their story worked out, or they have a draft of it, and they want somebody to review it. I will do that for you. And this is interesting. This is something that I was talking about to myself on my drive home from Phoenix, but it's coming up that I need to talk about it right now. So bear with me. But like, I offer a project or an intensive type of thing where I will come out to you for an entire day and we will workshop the crap out of your story. Like, you probably have an idea and we will just like really tighten it up. But that requires, a deeper conversation. But there's somebody who will see this, and I don't know if it's somebody that's on the live right now or somebody who's going to see it later, or or one of you who's watching it live knows who this person is. But they're functioning at a high level, like, there are 7 figures in their business, and need that extra direction and extra guidance. I provide those full day things where I come out to you, you fly me out, we spend a whole day working through stuff, okay? And it's amazing, and you will get that story locked down and put to work for things that you're doing, right? So anyway, your origin story is the one that you tell wherever the audience comes into your world. Whether that's a Facebook Live, whether that's on the landing page of your website, whether that's in a podcast episode. A podcast episode is something that you should do, being a guest on people to share your origin story. Introduces a lot of people to and brings them into your world. But if you're doing your own marketing, getting referrals, all those things, that is, you tell that story when they come into your world. Okay? You use a little story like my Friendly Giant Films video to hook them, to bring them in, and then they learn more about your background and origin story. Okay? So that is origin stories for today. Okay? With that said, how far along are you on your origin story? Did you do your homework? Have you been studying it, working out on your own? And if you have, why is it not out there? Why haven't you tagged me in wherever it is? Send me the links. Tag me in where you post it when you do it. I want to be able to look at it and celebrate with you in doing it, and just see what learn more about you guys. Okay. So with that said, have an amazing rest of your Wednesday. You guys are awesome, and I love that you guys are taking action and doing things, and that you show up every day. So with that said, go out, own the rest of today, take tomorrow by the horns, and we'll see you tomorrow. See you guys.